Hello guys, so here we are with some examples of section 10.4. This is the first of two examples I'm going to upload, so you can check those videos and hopefully they will help you solve your quizzes and your homework assignments on big ideas. So we're gonna start with this exercise, and what I like about this exercise is that it combines two out of three of the concepts that we have to study in our section 10.4. Section 10.4 is about inscribed angles and polygons, okay? In circles, of course. So let's take a look at this exercise. We have this a circle. I'm going to label it as a circle F, okay? So this circle F has some information we are given, and this is it. So we've got some points from the circumference, and we have points K, L, and H, and from this we have the angle LKH is 109 degrees. And there is nothing else they are giving us apart from showing another point that is called J and another point called M for reference. And the questions of the problem are, in this case, we need to find out, and sorry, let me move this a little bit. Yeah. So we need to find the measure of the major arc HML, which means it's this HML, this whole section from, remember that when we measure arcs, our point of reference is the center, so it's this swiping this whole thing. And also, we are asked to find the measure of the angle HJL, which in this case, it's the angle HJL. In order to solve each of these exercises, we need to remember some things we learned from that section. Hopefully, you have already read about them, but I'm going to review them this time. So I'm going to indicate these two first, okay? The first concept is telling you that when you have 3 points from a circumference and this C is the center of the circle, the measure of the arc AB is twice as much the measure of the angle ADB. Okay, this is going to be our first reference. At the same time, I need you to remember, and this, by the way, this is called the measure of inscribed angle theorem. The second part of it is inscribed angles of a circle. And what does that tell you? Take a look at this circle. Let's focus on this point R, and we're going to say that we are trying to make this arc here S and P. Okay, so if we have this angle here, angle R, the thing is that this point Q is also going to be the vertex of this angle that is going to intercept at S and P as well. So they have the same intercepts. So if that is the case, I can say that angle, the measure of angle Q is the same as the measure of angle R. So they are congruent. If I take these two things into account, I will be able to solve this exercise. So now let's begin with the first part. How do I find the measure of HML? Well, the measure of the arc HML, as you can notice this whole thing, and if you take a look at that, HKL is part of it. So the measure of the measure of HML is twice as much the measure of the angle HKL, because I took it from this first theorem. With that in mind, I will find out the measure of that major arc, because this is 2 times 109, and in this case we have 218. This is the first part. Now for the second part, we are going to take into account this other theorem. The measure of the angle HJL happens to be the same. Can you see that point J is the vertex of the angle that intercepts at H and L, which happens to be the same intercepts for angle K. With that in mind, I know that these two angles have to be the same. I mean, angle at J and K. In this case, it's angle HKL. So if they are the same, the angle that I had to find, angle HJL, is also 109. Okay, and that's it. Thank you very much for your attention.